100 degrees centigrade, greater than 15 degrees centigrade, some sort of constraints we can put. How do we decide that which are the constraints? We understand the constraints based on experience or subjective knowledge. Based on that, we can say that, yes, we have to put this constraint. Okay. So for example, if you want to make a schedule of your day to, accomplish few tasks, then one of the constraints that you have to put is that the total time you spend in accomplishing any task should be less than or equal to 24 hours in a day. Okay, or you can change it to, let's say, 15 hours depending on to your availability. Yeah, so this represents a constraint. So likewise in technical field also, there are some constraints that we must satisfy. These are these constraints. Yeah, non-linear equality constraint, non-linear inequality constraint, and the bound constraints. Okay. All right. So typically, if I have only one function f of x that I want to minimize, and if I have only one variable, let's say temperature x, then it is very easy. I can find out this function value at various values of x, and whichever value of x I get the minimum value of fx, that is my solution. Yeah, so if this is temperature, then I will operate my reactor at this temperature, and then I can ensure that yes, I am operating with minimum function value. Yeah, and this function could be energy loss or equivalently any other minimization problem, right? Okay. Now, if I have more than one objectives, see what happens that many times in the example that I mentioned for this critical insulation thickness. So there we want to minimize the energy loss. Okay, so there is only one objective, but many times we may have more than one objectives. Yeah, so I often give this example that suppose I want to buy a car, right? So in buying the car, typically we have two criteria. No, number one is that I want to minimize the cost. So this is cost, and I want to maximize the comfort. Yeah. So if I want to spend, let's say, less money, cost is less, so then the solution also what I get is like nano car, right? Very less expensive, but the comfort and physical, yes, the comfort that we get is quite less. On the other hand, you can choose very expensive car. Audi is just, I'm giving one example. You can use it Ferrari or any other Lamborghini or whatever. No? So if you are willing to pay more, yeah, that means if you want to get the very high comfort level of comfort, then you also have to pay more. Yeah, so that is why here we get two objectives: the cost and the comfort. Yeah, and depending on to this criteria and depending on to how much compromise we want to make in one objective versus the other, we can get several solutions. Yeah, so one solution is this, other solution is this, and in between there are many solutions. Yeah, so when we have multiple objectives, then we get not one solution, we get multiple solutions, and we have to choose one. Yeah, either you can buy Nano, or you can buy Audi, or you can buy in between, let's say Swift or Hyundai i20 or whatever. Yeah, you can. Yeah, so out of all these possible solutions, you are going to operate with only one solution. Yeah, so very similarly in the reactor design as well, when we have multiple objectives, we'll get many solutions depending on to the compromise in one objective versus the other. And then as the design engineer, I have to choose only one solution out of many. Okay. Now, okay. So let me know if you have any question at any point of time. You just interrupt me, and I'll be happy to answer the question. Okay. Is there any question by now? No, right? Okay. Okay, so now let's see the technical problem. Yeah, so this is some literature review we had done, and we realized that what work we wanted to do, nobody had done in the past. Yeah, so that was the basis why we actually conducted this study. Okay, so when we did literature review, we realized that whenever we want to operate the packed bed reactor, cylindrical packed bed reactor, for the production of hydrogen from natural gas, we realized that many people had solved optimization problem, but single objective optimization problem, two objective optimization problem, and likewise. And I will show you that what was done in the literature and what was not done in the literature. Okay. So in the literature, people had maximized the hydrogen production from the reactor. So that is one objective, people had solved the problem. People also had solved the problem of optimization by minimizing the methane conversion, natural gas conversion. Yeah, more the conversion, better it is. This is the reactant. Yeah, so that also people had solved that, optimization problem by maximizing methane conversion. People had also solved an optimization problem by minimizing carbon emission, carbon dioxide emission. Yeah, so one of the side products is carbon dioxide. Yeah, less is the production, better it is. So people also had solved optimization problem by minimizing the carbon dioxide emission from the reactor. And then people had also used this ratio that, hydrogen production and carbon monoxide production, the ratio of the two must be very close to either 1, 2, or 3, depending on their choice. And people had solved this kind of problem as well. Okay, so these are the 4 different objectives people had used in the literature, and they had solved either single objective problem or double objective problems. So for these, see, when we maximize hydrogen production, then I cannot do it in the air. No, I have to take some action. So those action variables are the feed temperature, or oxygen, that how much we feed into the reactor, and the third is steam, how much we feed steam into the reactor. Yeah, so the variables were kept, these 3 variables, that, choosing the right values of these 3 variables, they had obtained maximum hydrogen or maximum methane conversion or minimum carbon dioxide emission, or attaining the specified ratio of hydrogen to carbon monoxide. Yeah, so clear about these 2 about various objectives and the variables. Okay. The summary of the entire literature review till 2020 was that nobody had minimized power loss because of the pressure drop. Because more is the pressure drop, more is the power loss in the compressor. Yeah. So nobody had minimized this power loss in cylindrical packed bed reactor in the literature till 2020 for the production of hydrogen. Then nobody had solved a multi-objective optimization problem for spherical reactor. Then there are literature on moon. So for the tubular reactor also, people had not used power loss as one of the objectives. So this is the highlight. Nobody had done this work till 2020. Then we realized that let us do that work. And now I'm going to show that work. So this is the tubular packed bed reactor. The feed contains like methane and hydrogen and nitrogen and oxygen and some small amount of hydrogen that might be coming from somewhere, carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. And we can make this hydrogen mainly, and along with that, some amount of other products also form. And in the reactor, what reactions occur? What is the reaction mechanism? These are the typically 4 reactions. They actually occur when we feed this raw material. Okay, so that was available in the literature, and it is quite easy. What we do in reaction engineering, we can do material balance, that is component-wise balance, and that was also available in the literature. And this is nothing but the component balance equation, material balance equation. I'm not going to spend too much of time here. It is just in minus out plus generation equals accumulation. Yeah. Then since it is an exothermic, most of the reactions are exothermic, that is why the temperature also changes along the length of the reactor. That means I also have to write down the energy balance equation. Why? Because temperature changes, and because of the temperature, the rate constant also changes, and because of that, your the extent of reactions also change. Yeah, so that is why we have to include heat balance as well. And the third equation is that it's a gas phase packed bed reactor, gas phase reaction in packed bed reactor. So when the gas passes through the reactor, you may face pressure drop. So we have to write down the momentum balance equation as well. Yeah, and we can write down the Ergun equation to find out how much pressure drop we get in the reactor. Yeah. So very simple. We have learned that in our undergrad study that these are the three types of equations we have to consider whenever we want to study a packed bed reactor. So that was known before we did. And these are the rate of reactions. Yeah. And what we did, we actually wrote down these equations, we solved them, and we solved those equations of material balance and energy balance and momentum balance equations, and we found the solutions which are in agreement with the results that were shown by various people in the literature. So we just ensured that whatever equations we solve, those are correctly solved. Yeah? There is no problem with the equations and solving the equations. Yeah, so that we ensured. So up to here, everything is done in the literature, and then comes our work, exact work. Yeah, what is that? That this is my tubular reactor, and we first solved this problem. What is that problem? We said that I want to maximize the hydrogen production, and I want to minimize the carbon dioxide emission. Yeah, and this multi-objective optimization problem nobody had solved in the literature till 2020, and then we solved it. Yeah, the constraints are those material balance equations. You may not know how to solve this problem, but just it's possible. I mean, if you spend like some time, maybe 1-2 months of time, you'll be able to solve this problem. Huh? It's not a very big deal. I'm showing the chemical engineering part of this optimization study. Okay, so this is the optimization problem where these are my two objectives. Yeah, the variables are x, and x over here is feed temperature, feed pressure, and the feed oxygen and water. And these are the equations that we have to satisfy, right? And you can refer my paper to get more detail. Yeah, and as I mentioned, these are the three variables: the feed temperature and not feed pressure, but rather the how much water we feed in and how much oxygen we feed in. This is the temperature constraint. This is the constraint on the feed water and feed oxygen. Yeah, that we had. So this is the entire definition of the multi-objective optimization problem. I hope you are following me. Huh? Feel free to ask me anything at any point of time. Okay, so this is the solution. What is the solution? I have got many solutions, and that is why I had to make a plot of all the solutions. Remember that I want to maximize hydrogen and I want to minimize carbon dioxide. Yeah. So as a result, we got these solutions, many solutions. So these are all the points. Okay. Now, if you look at this solution, at least what we can make sense out of it from chemical engineering perspective is that this is one solution. Remember one thing, whenever you are solving a multi-objective optimization problem, you do not get only single solution. You get many solutions. Okay. So one of the solutions is that, remember that we want to maximize hydrogen, we want to minimize carbon dioxide. Okay. So if I see all the solutions, and suppose I look at only one solution, let's say point A, and then if you look at the graph, it gives you the maximum hydrogen. Maximum hydrogen. Yeah, maximum hydrogen, which is 1.8 into 10 to the power 4 kilomoles per hour. But along with that, you see that carbon dioxide is also maximum. Yeah, that I don't want. Yeah, I want maximum hydrogen, but I don't want maximum carbon dioxide. Yeah, but that is how we have to deal, right? That is how we have to deal. You cannot get more hydrogen at the same time less carbon dioxide. That is what is the multi-objective optimization problem. That when you improve one thing, you have to compromise into other one. That's the nature. Then similarly, if I want minimum carbon dioxide, so that corresponds to this point. Yeah. So when I see that, then actually my hydrogen also is quite less. Yeah. So if I want less carbon dioxide, then my hydrogen production is also quite less. Okay. And I already have the set of solutions that, okay, if I want to realize this point A, then what is the feed temperature? What is the feed water? What is the feed, what is it, methane? How much we have to feed methane? So that also solution I have, only I'm not showing it over here. And suppose if you want to make a compromise solution that, okay, I want some amount of hydrogen and some amount of carbon dioxide, then I can choose this option. Yeah. Okay. And if you are a design engineer, then you can choose any point on this curve, and then you can correspondingly find out the temperature and the feed conditions from the solutions that we have got, and they can implement in the reactor, and they can realize the corresponding hydrogen and carbon dioxide emission. So that, oh yeah, so that I have actually tabulated the values of A, B, C, D, E points also for hydrogen production and for carbon dioxide emission. Yeah, so the corresponding solutions are, if I want to let's get point A, this point. Yeah, so this point I can obtain by maintaining 2000 Kelvin temperature in the feed temperature as the feed temperature. Oxygen to methane ratio should be 0.34 and water to methane ratio should be 4. If I do that, then I will achieve 1.8 into 10 to the power 4 kilomoles per hour of hydrogen, and correspondingly I will get 1.45 kilomoles per hour, 1.45 into 10 to the power 4 kilomoles per hour of carbon dioxide emission. So this is the exact solution we got and we presented for both these objectives. Yeah, and for these 3 points, that is A, B, and C points. Yeah, A, B, and C points. If I look at the reactor temperature profile, yeah, so temperature in the reactor, it first shoots up and then it goes down. Yeah, for the 3 points. Okay, and the pressure, how does it vary? In this fashion, it varies. Yeah, depending on which solution you want to implement, whether point A, B, or C. Okay, so this is the solution which was very handy. Let me plug in my charger to my tablet. Yeah. Okay, so this is actually, if you are a design engineer, and then I tell you that it is a wonderful set of solutions. I mean, you can really operate your reactor at the desired condition that you want, right? So that is why the journal was very happy, the editor was very happy to accept this work. Okay, and then we solved another multi-objective problem as well, wherein we actually minimize the power loss. As I mentioned, that because of the pressure drop, there is power loss. Yeah. So we said that if there is pressure drop, then let me find out that solution which minimizes the power loss. But at the same time, I want to maximize the hydrogen production. Yeah. So 2 objectives, and the solutions again can be represented in a set of solutions. This is hydrogen flow rate and power loss. Hydrogen flow rate I want to maximize, and power loss I want to minimize. Yeah. So again, if I want to maximize hydrogen, if I let's say take this solution, then I'll get maximum hydrogen, very high hydrogen, but I also have to make a loss in terms of power loss. A lot of money will go into power loss. And if I want to reduce power loss, then I also have to reduce the hydrogen production. Yeah, and this may be a like complete, like a compromise solution, that I will lose something, hydrogen I will lose something, and I will make some loss in power loss as well, right? So this is just one solution, and corresponding solutions in terms of the values A, B, C, D, 5 points I have shown here, and the temperature and pressure profiles for these 3 points along the length of the reactors I am also showing. Okay. And then again another multi-objective problem I have solved. So wherein I want to minimize power loss, but now I want to find out the corresponding carbon dioxide minimization. Yeah. So then you get this Pareto solutions, or rather these are the solutions. Yeah. Very similarly how I had shown earlier. You can refer my paper if you want more detail. Yeah. And then this is the first time we did it, that, you know, what if I want to simultaneously achieve all the 3 objectives, that is hydrogen maximization, carbon dioxide minimization, and power loss minimization. And then we saw that all the solutions were obtained in 3 dimensions. Yeah, so we got a 3-dimensional plot as solution itself. And then we took the projection, and we realized that this kind of little bit advanced work that we had done. But if you want to refer more, this work was done by my student Zafar Ahmad, and we published it in International Journal of Hydrogen Energy, very reputed journal, in 2020. You can refer this paper. I will send this PPT if you want to one of the faculty members, either Professor Naresh or Professor Naina. Okay, so this was one work which we had done. And then we realized, as I mentioned earlier, okay, up to here, is there any question? Is there any question here about anything? Okay. So if you have no question, I can proceed. I have 15-20 more minutes. 15 minutes I have more to present. Okay, so I'll proceed. So this was the work of a tubular reactor, in tubular reactor. Now I'm going to show you the work for spherical reactor. So as I mentioned earlier, for spherical reactor also you can write down the material balance, heat balance, and momentum balance. Okay, and the feed gas can go into the center, and my product can go out from the outlet surface. So this is how it operates. And for these, again, I can solve a multi-objective problem wherein I want to maximize hydrogen and minimize power loss. And that is this optimization problem, mathematics. The solution I'm showing here, and we have actually done comparison of the spherical reactor and tubular reactor. Yeah. So you can see that the spherical reactor solutions, I'm showing it by a red curve, this curve. And for tubular reactor, this is the curve. Okay. So green is tubular, black is spherical. And you can see that if you take any power loss value, let's say this power loss value, then at that power loss, the hydrogen production that I can make is much more in black line, that is in spherical reactor as compared to cylindrical reactor. Yeah. So we exactly quantified that how much production we get in spherical reactor. On the other hand, if you want to produce with a given amount of hydrogen, then you can draw a horizontal line, and you can see that for the tubular reactor, which is green color over here, for the same amount of hydrogen flow rate, the power loss is smaller in spherical reactor, that is in black line. Yeah. So these kind of solutions nobody had got, and we actually got and presented that, and this is the detailed comparison. Okay, and these are detailed values of all these several points, and I have done significant analysis. We have done significant analysis, and we have shown that in the research article. And this is another problem of power loss and carbon dioxide minimization. And this green color solutions we had obtained in tubular reactor, which I had presented earlier, And this black color, we have done it for spherical reactors separately, and we have compared the two solutions. Okay. And again, you can, I have just tabulated few solutions here. And then what are the temperature and pressure profiles look like in the reactor for these three representative solutions. Yet another multi-objective problem for hydrogen maximization and minimum carbon dioxide emission. Yeah, and you can do the similar thing. And this is all the three objectives simultaneously I have solved. The green solutions are for the tubular reactor, and the black ones are for the spherical. These solutions also we have presented in the Journal of Hydrogen Energy, very reputed journal. Again, the same person, the same MTech student had solved this problem. Okay, and then we had done much more detailed analysis, which I'm not going to present here for the sake of simplicity. Okay, and yeah, he had jotted down a few work that he thought that can be done in future. Yeah. So this is the work I wanted to show. Yes, I have actually completed a little bit fast, but now I'm very happy. I'll be very happy to discuss any part of it or anything related to this or anything related to, optimization or that work that I have presented. So yeah, I think I have done it fast, but one of the purposes why I've done it, because I can discuss with you if you want to, discuss anything, simple thing or difficult thing that you can think of, and we can discuss about my work or your related work to this optimization. So for now, actually, I'm stopping the sharing, and Hello? I'll be happy to interact with you. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Yes. I am Rahul Prajapati from GEC Valsad.
Can you please speak a little bit loudly? I cannot hear you properly.
Hello, I am Rahul Prajapati from GEC Valsad, sir. I am audible?
Rahul Prajapati. If you can...
From GEC Valsad, sir. GEC Valsad. Government Engineering College Valsad.
Yeah, can you speak can you ask the question? Let me see if I can understand it.
Okay, sir. My question is that how this modeling and simulation will help us to minimize the work effort. For an example, if I want to balance the energy, if I want to use the modeling and simulation, so what kind of modeling and simulation step that I have to follow to carry out such kind of relations?
Okay, wonderful. Very good question. Yeah. So here I have shown many graphs and many results on optimization, and it may look like magic to you, that how such a graph can be generated and so on, right? So the fundamental question is what you asked, and that is how actually can we do that? No. So for that, let me share my screen again, and let me show you, or rather, let me first discuss only verbally before I. Yeah. So for example, if you want to do optimization in reactor, then you have to do material balance equation. You have to write material balance. If it is exothermic, then you have to write material balance and energy balance. Yeah. If there is pressure drop in the reactor, then you have to write momentum balance along with material and energy balance equation. Okay. So let me show you that. Yeah. So if you recall, I will go back to So this is the this is the idea. So we know that whenever there is a packed bed reactor, we have seen that whenever we want to write down the equations for a packed bed reactor, you can do material balance equation, right? You can take a shell and you can do in minus out plus generation, and you can take the small volume, and around that volume you can do the material balance equation. Yeah, if you simplify that further, actually it results into this equation. Okay, and similarly for the same shell, same small thickness, small length of the reactor, if you do energy balance, that is in minus out plus generation equals accumulation, then you will end up with this equation. Yeah, of course you have to do a lot of simplification, but you will arrive to this particular equation. Then again, if you do the pressure drop, if you calculate the pressure drop, then you already know from fluid mechanics that the pressure drop can be estimated using Ergun equation. Yeah, so these are the equations which represent this reactor itself. Okay, and when I solve these equations, then that is the solution of the reactor itself. Yeah, now how can we solve these equations? Yeah, so then you have to solve the ODEs, ordinary differential equations. Yeah, so that is why in numerical methods, when we had learned like Runge-Kutta method, Euler method, explicit Euler method, implicit Euler method. So these are the methods we can use to solve all these ordinary differential equations. Alternatively, in MATLAB, there is a solver called ODE45, that subroutine, that solver. It can solve all these ODEs very nicely if you feed the equations in a nice form, and then you will be able to solve it. When we solve these ODEs, that is what we say, that is what we call that a simulation of the reactor. Yeah. So what are the three steps? What are the three steps? Now let me go to, let me show you something in my screen. Yeah. Yeah. So the first step is write material balance, energy balance, and momentum balance equations. Yeah.
Sir, momentum balance equation means?
Means pressure drop. That is Ergun equation.
Okay, okay.
Okay, and then you solve them. Yeah, that is what you call it simulation. Yeah, once you solve it, you can find out that from the reactor how much hydrogen is produced. You can actually calculate that. You can actually find out that from the program, and then you can tell the optimizers. Then you can solve optimization. You can say that how much ever hydrogen you are producing, I want to maximize that. And for that, you can change by changing temperature in the feed, then oxygen in the feed, and water in the feed. So these three variables you can change. Yeah, and the optimizer, yeah, one of the ways you can do that in MATLAB is using fmin con. Okay, so you have to follow these 4 steps, and then you can solve an optimization problem. Okay,
Sir,
of
one
course,
last
I
question.
have, yeah, go ahead.
Sir, for you just stated that we have to solve the above 3 equations based on the production of the hydrogen.
Correct.
Sir, my last question, is there any method or any methodology are there that we can solve, otherwise we can integrate all this equation in a one form?
Yeah. So all these 3 equations, no, how can we solve it? No, so it's
Yes.
very easy. Once you write down the equations, no, then there is an ODE solver. So let me find out if I have, let's say, the equations. Then I can actually show you Just give me a minute. I may have the let me directly access that. No, so let me see if I can find it out. Huh?
Sir, actually, I'm asking question is because of that, I'm working on the same thing, same work on that thing, but hydrogen is a raw material for my work. So
Hmm.
I want to optimize the quantity of hydrogen because
Okay.
already that we are knowing the flow. By controlling the flow mechanism, we can optimize that thing. But if we can calculate it based on the simulation work, so it will be the more better purpose because when we enter into the plant or any pilot scale, so the flow mechanism system will not be work properly.
Hmm.
Uh, so that's why I want to optimize the quantity of hydrogens for the my further reaction. So I am using a packed bed reactor, and hydrogen is my again raw material. I am doing the gaseous reaction, gas and vapor reaction.
Hmm. Hmm.
So with the mass transfer kinetics, I will came to know that hydrogen is a limiting reactant for my work. So
Hmm.
when I trying to solve it, but I am unable to solve such kind of situation anymore.
Hmm. Yeah. So this is, let's say, packed bed reactor, and code looks like hydrogen CO2. Now, I don't have MATLAB installed here, so I'll not be able to show you. But yeah, it is possible. If you want more detail, you can contact me separately. I can give you greater detail.
Sure, sir,
Okay.
definitely, sir.
Yeah. But we'll see if you will get some time. I will solve one simple optimization problem in Excel as well, and then I'll be able to help you, all of you. I mean, I can show you a demonstration how we can solve an optimization problem even in Excel, MS Excel. Okay, but
Okay,
let
sir.
me know if you
Actually,
have more questions. Others, yeah, go ahead.
so fine, sir. Okay, fine, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please go ahead if you have any other question. Yeah, other any other question from anyone else? No. Then since we have time, not up to 3:30, I can show you one demonstration that how we can solve an optimization problem. Okay, so that will give you a lot more clarity. So I didn't plan earlier, but let's do it. Meanwhile, feel free to ask me any question. Huh? I'll be very happy to answer any question. See, I don't believe too much formality. That is why I change my plan at any time, right? I didn't plan to present my other work, but let's do it. No, we have time. So I'm finding one PPT wherein I had solved one problem of optimization, and I think that will be very useful. Yeah, this one. So let me download this. So in the first part that I've showed you, there actually I solved a problem. We solved a problem with a lot of with a lot of complications and a lot of details, right? I cannot explain you all the details in this small time, but I'll be able to show you something that we can do it even in 20 minutes of time. Okay, and that is what I want to show you. And that is what is modeling, simulation, and optimization. All these we'll be able to do it in 20 minutes. Okay, so this is like this. You are able to see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful. So, yeah, so this is an example of how to design a CSTR. Very simple example. Yeah, I have taken this problem from the book by Fogler. So A is my reactant. It can convert either into X, B, or Y. Yeah, and the rate laws are given. The first reaction is zeroth order, second reaction is first order, and third is the second order reaction. The rate constants are given for all the three reactions, and these are the three reactions occur in a reactor. Now, out of these three, B is my desired product, and undesired products are X and Y. Yeah, and I want to operate the CSTR. And so for me, the feed concentration is 0.4 moles per liter, but the operator doesn't know at what volume should I operate the reactor. Yeah, whether I should use 100 liters or 200 liters, or alternatively, what is the concentration, exit concentration I should operate. That the operator doesn't know. So we have to help them using optimization study. This is the problem statement. Okay. Now, what should be the problem statement? Or what should be the CSTR volume I should operate? Yeah. So if you recall, when we have multiple reactions, no, we should not try to maximize the conversion of the reactant. We should not do that. Why? Because I may get 100% conversion of A, but if all of my A converts into X and Y and no B forms, then there is no use, no? That is why we do not design a reactor when we have multiple reactions. So when we have multiple reactions, how do we design the reactor? We design based on the selectivity. And how do we define the selectivity? Rate of the desired product and rate of undesired product formation. Yeah. So based on this definition of Rx, Ry, and Rb, this is the selectivity. And I can maximize this selectivity and find out the corresponding concentration of A, and I can say that I want to operate my reactor at this exit concentration of A. Yeah. So these, let us see that how we can do that in Excel, MS Excel. Is this problem clear? We will first do simulation, and then we will do optimization with the help of Excel. Okay. Now, what I will do. So remember that I want to optimize CA. So CA, I don't know what is the CA. So let me say that, okay, I want to operate my CA at 0.1, just initial guess. If this is CA, then my selectivity becomes, I have to define Rx, Ry, and Rb. So let me define now Rx, Rx is 0.0001. It does not depend on to the concentration. It is zeroth order reaction. Rb is 0.0015 times Ca is equal to 0.0015 times Ca. Okay, and Ry is 0.008 Ca square is equal to 0.008 times C. Ca is this, and square. Yeah. So for a given value of Ca, I can now find out the selectivity. How do I do that? Equal to Rb, which is my desired product, divided by Rx plus Ry, enter. This is my selectivity. Yeah. So in CSTR, now you can imagine that, for the CSTR, these are the equations, material balance equations, and this is the selectivity definition. And this selectivity I am defining based on the value of Ca by following all my material balance equations, or rather the rate of reaction definitions, right? And Now, if you, the beauty of this formulation is that if you change this, let's say 0.2, then I will get the corresponding selectivity. Yeah. So if I operate my reactor at 0.2 Ca, then my selectivity is reduced. So I should not do that. Then I can choose to operate at 0.1. Yeah, it's better selectivity. Then I can think of 0.09. Yeah, selectivity is changed, but reduced. Yeah, at 0.1, 0.2. So I can do this trial and error. So on and on and on, right? But if I want to find the singles in single go, if I want to find out the right value of Ca, then we can do optimization. So let's do optimization. So for that, I can go to data, I can opt solver, and here in the very first cell, the objective function, do you see this obj objective? There I can say that this is my objective. This objective I want to maximize. If I want to minimize, then I will select this, but I want to maximize the selectivity. So this, by changing variable cells. So variable is Ca, and that's it. And then I can say that, all right, now solve it. And I can return this solution, and here is my solution. So Ca is 0.1118, and the corresponding selectivity is 0.8385. Yeah. So this is the highest selectivity that I can get, and for achieving this selectivity, I can operate my reactor at this exact concentration of 0.1118. Okay. Now I can use my CSTR equation, which is V is equal to this Ca minus Ca0 upon R. Yeah. Ca0, we already know how much is the feed concentration. It is 0.4. Yeah. So this is 0.4. Sorry. Ca, we have got it from optimization. It is 0.1183 minus 0.4 is the feed concentration, and Ra is what? What is Ra? Ra is or rather minus Ra. Ra, yeah. So minus Ra is K1 plus K2 Ca square plus K3 Ca square. So Ra I can define it here. Yeah. So once I get this, Ra is nothing but this plus this plus this plus this. Yeah, so this is my 0.11203. Of course, this is actually minus Ra. If you look at it, this is actually minus, Rx is equal to minus R1A, Rb is equal to minus R2A, and Ry is minus R3A. So this is actually minus Ra. Yeah. So Ra is minus 0.112. Yeah. So from here you can find out the volume. Yeah. You can calculate that, and you will say that this is the design volume of the CSTR for attaining the highest selectivity. Yeah. So yeah, I will now quickly recap what and how we have done everything. Yeah. So I will recap everything in 2 minutes now. Yeah. So remember that I want to design a CSTR.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sir, I had a question.
Yeah.
Sir, as we know that in Excel, we took a initial guess of outlet concentration.
Yes.
And sir, the value of selectivity obtained depends on the initial guess.
Okay. Yes.
So, make a
Yeah, your voice is breaking, but I have understood your question. You are saying that if I change the initial guess, will my solution of optimization change? The question is no. See, if you change by trial and error, it will change. So 0.1, let's say I use it 0.2, it will change. But whatever value you choose, let's say 0.2, and you solve by optimization. Okay, and you minimize it. You will all the time get the same solution, all the time, 0.112. Now suppose I change the initial guess from 0.2 to let's say 0.5. 0.5. We will still see that still we will get the same solution, that is 0.112. That is the beauty. 0.112. Yeah. So from wherever you start, you will get the same final solution. How you solve it, like Newton-Raphson method, no? You solve it from with any initial guess, but it will converge to the same root. So very quickly, I will recap. If you look at the reaction engineering, these are the three reactions, right? And the corresponding rate constants are given. The rate laws are these. Okay. Now I want to design the CSTR. What does it mean by designing the CSTR? I want to find the right volume. How can I get the volume? For that, I have to define the selectivity. Yeah. This selectivity I have to maximize so that I can get the right value of the exit concentration of A. And that is why for various values of CA, we saw that yes, selectivity changes. But then we said that what is the best value of CA? Then we solved the optimization using solver command in MATLAB, in Excel. Then it found out that if you operate the reactor at exit CA is equal to 0.1118, then you'll get the maximum selectivity of B versus X and Y. If you operate at that selectivity, then the corresponding concentration is this and corresponding RA value is this. And that's it. You can find out the volume as CA0 minus CA upon RA. CA0 is given, CA we have found out, and RA also we have found out, and you can find out the reactor volume. If you operate at this reactor volume, then that is your optimum design of the CSTR. Yeah. So this is modeling. This is modeling. Checking the selectivity at various values of concentration is simulation, and solving the optimization problem by maximizing selectivity using solver is optimization. So this is modeling, simulation, and optimization for CSTR. Exactly this we have done in packed bed reactor also. Only the equations are more complicated. Optimization was more complicated, but exactly the same thing we have done. Yeah. So this is a small demonstration of how we can do modeling, how we can do simulation, and how we can do optimization. Yes. Originally, I did not plan, but I thought that it will be very useful exercise. Yeah, I'll be very happy to ask, get more questions.
Good afternoon, sir. So I have a question. I have gone through the problem of phase equilibrium. The reference is taken from the Kevin-Narayan book. So for the calculations of the bubble point and vapor compositions or dew point and liquid compositions, can I apply this model, simulations and optimizations?
Yeah, so there you are saying...
there are the three components, methanol, ethanol, and the propanol, normal propelone. Their compositions are given, as well as total pressure is given, and the vapor pressures of pure liquid are also given, but for a particular temperature range. So how do I get this bubble point and vapor compositions?
Yeah, so for that you don't have to do optimization, no? You only have to do simple calculation, no?
Yes.
So yeah, so there is bubble point calculation procedure, no? Summation of yi is equal to 0, and then
yes,
you replace that by kixi. Yeah.
So, sir, I have tried by using this solver, but I'm not getting the value of this sigma y is equal to 1. What is the compositions? I'm not getting it.
Yeah, it's a trial and error procedure to find out the bubble point or dew point temperature. Yeah, it's a trial and error procedure, but you can do that. I have done that several times in MS Excel. So if you want, you can separately write an email. I will give you my solution for a particular system, and you can do it similarly for yourself.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, but it's doable.
Okay.
Yeah. So idea is this, that for a given temperature, you find out the vapor pressure from Antoine's constants. From that, you find out the equilibrium constant, that is Pi upon Pi reference, vapor pressure ratio. From that, you find out the summation term in that bubble point equation, and then you equate the left hand side and right hand side equation, right hand side part of the equation, by changing the corresponding temperature or pressure depending on what calculation you are doing. Wherever you get these two equalities, that is your bubble point conditions.
The problem is that I do not have any Anton equations data. I only have a particular vapor pressures at four different temperatures only, and my bubble point lies between these two temperatures. Say I have a
It's okay.
data.
Yeah, got it. So then you can do interpolation.
Yes, exactly.
You can do interpolation. So in the guess or in the iteration, suppose if you want to get the vapor pressure at a temperature which is not tabulated, or it is not one of the four values, you can do interpolation, and interpolated value of vapor pressure, you can use it, and then you can go ahead with your calculation. It's possible.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other question? No?
Any other question from audience?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Otherwise, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for a practical demonstration regarding modeling and simulation, which is considered a difficult subject in the field of chemical engineering. You have very well demonstrated how to solve the problems right from the beginning: material balance, energy balance, momentum balance, and final solution. So that will help all the participants to work and think in this direction. Thank you very much. And I would like to express sincere thanks to sir for sparing valuable time with us and sharing practical knowledge. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. It was very nice to participate in the workshop. Yeah, hello, Arun.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. Bye. Thank you very much.
Nice.
I'll leave the meeting. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Please.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I have already intimated, ma'am. Vyas sir will join very soon.
Okay, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I have intimated, and within a few minutes, Vyas sir will join.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Welcome, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Sir, your mic is muted.
Okay, હવે બરાબર
તમે
Yes,
સંભળાય છે?
sir.
Yeah.
સંભળાય છે તમને?
હા, સંભળાય છે, sir.
Okay, fine.
Sir.
How are you?
Fine, sir.
Fine, sir. How are you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, enjoying home. Can we start?
So,
Yes, sir.
well, we are at office.
Let me introduce you first.
Ah,
The second speaker of today's session is Sri M.N. Vyas, sir. Sir was ex-GM operations at IPCL Baroda. Sri M.N. Vyas did MSc in Chemical Engineering from UK and PG Diploma in Chemical Engineering from London. He has written a book on safety and hazards management in chemical industries, which is published by Atlantic Publishers. Sir has participated in various conferences. We welcome you, sir, and I request you to please take the charge of the session. Thank you, sir.
who is presenting the PPT?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Rohit, sir.
Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon, sir.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Please.
we are going to talk about safety in process industries. Safety, what do you mean by safety? Safety is, in Gujarati, you can say safety means suraksha. Suraksha means what? Raksha of ourselves, our own, and raksha, sarva raksha, raksha of all others. So, safety involves taking care of ourselves and taking care of surrounding like atmosphere, environment, water, air, soil, everything. So we are going to talk about safety in process industry. Why process industry? Because chemical industry has the maximum number of problems which causes unsafe action, unsafe activity all around, which can influence atmosphere, it can influence environment, and it can influence the people also. So let us talk about safety in process.